Hello, welcome to road.cc. This is part 3 of building a bike out of bamboo, or trying to anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. We're using a kit from a company called the Bamboo Bicycle Club. If you want to have a look at that kit, there's a link to it in the description below. So last week we did mostly sanding.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say.
A lot of sanding,
a
little bit of gluing.
Yes. And not very much bike building really, although, you know, it's starting to look like, a little bit like a bike. This week, I think it's going to be more of the same. So we've got to try and get the front triangle done and hopefully work towards the rear of the bike. That's the plan.
If you haven't a clue what we're talking about, then you can go back to parts 1 and 2 of our series of how to make a bamboo bike, where we do a lot of sanding, a little bit of gluing and minimal bike building.
Yeah, absolutely. So without further ado, let's get on and where's our sandpaper? Cool, so we finally got our down tube in place and mitered correctly, and it all looks nice, fits well. So now the next job is, we've got our seat post that we've put the insert into here, and now we're offering it up to the frame. It's a bit long, and also we've got the down tube in here, we have to cut around that, so it's just a case of shaping this end a bit and making sure it all fits nicely. So that's the next job. More filing and more sanding and more sawing. It's basically GCSE woodwork. Okay, so here we are, and it's starting to look a bit like a bike now. We've got the down tube in, we've got the seat tube in, we've done the difficult junction at the bottom, and now we've just got to put the top tube along. We're going to cut it here, and that's going pretty well now that we've made some progress, which took a while.
Yeah, I thought I'd be sanding forever at one point. But yeah, it's starting to look sort of bike shaped at the front now, so yeah. Getting there.
We're getting there, and we're hoping to get this finished, and then we'll work on the rear triangle, which there's some bending to do in that, so that'll be a bit of a change from sanding.
Yeah, I'm looking
forward to that very much. Yeah. It does have to be said that this is getting a lot easier to do. I don't know if it's because the tubes are getting smaller or just because we're getting better at knowing what we're doing, but these ones don't seem to be taking as long, and you know, it's coming together quite quickly now, so that's good. If I say that, I'll probably be stuck here for hours now sanding this one out, and it'll all go wrong. We'll have to start again, but we'll see. This is going to be we've built our triangle. I mean, we've sanded down the joints and everything seems to fit okay. Now what we have to do is tack it all in place. And before we do that, we need to scrape off the waxy stuff off the outside of the bamboo, so that when we bind it all together with the hemp cloth, it will adhere to the tubes rather than falling off and me dying. Right, that's suboptimal. So we've got a handy thing that says we should do this much scraping, but there isn't any.
Just some red lines.
So to the red line, but unfortunately we don't have a red line on our tube, so we'll have to like guess. But
what should it feel like? What would you think?
What, when you're like scraping it away? I reckon it says it's got like a layer with silicone in. So the reason you can make bikes out of bamboo and they don't like rot when you take them out in the rain is because there's like silicone in the outside layer, so they're naturally weatherproof. But you can't stick stuff to it. So when we're making this, we have to scrape that layer off. So I think it says somewhere in here. Yeah, scrape the bamboo's waxy layer off, and I think if you can see the grain of it underneath, then that's enough. So it's about we have to take about 1 millimetre off.
Okay.
So I think it's only like just the outside surface, basically. We've got a couple of knives, we'll be fine. Yeah, we'll get there. But that's it. We'll pull this apart now, and then we'll do the scraping, and then we'll put it back together, and we'll glue it, and then that bit will be done, and we can work on the back end. So we've scraped the ends of our tubes, and now all we're doing is we're just wrapping them in a bit of scrap paper just to keep them clean and keep them from getting damaged while we're building up the bike and we're putting on the hemp binding. Front triangle is tacked to fix the bamboo in position as if you were about to glue. It also enables you to effectively work on the rear triangle with the seat tube in a firm position. That sounds good. So it's basically some gluing, I think. We need to get some epoxy going on and get these tubes fixed in place. Cool. How are you with gluing?
Probably about as bad as I am. Sanding and this thing in general. Yeah.
Yeah, but you've been very helpful.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's all right. So this is where we've got to. We started out with no bike and we've kind of made it to about a half of a bike. We've done the main triangle. If I say so myself, Jack, I think we've made a decent job of it.
I think we managed to like close up most of the gaps that we saw forming at some points, you know, and it's looking as good as I could imagine it would have looked.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've still got a few. I mean, if you look behind here, we've got a little bit of a gap there. And there's a few like bits and bobs that we might have to fill in with a bit of sawdust and epoxy resin.
Sawdust and epoxy makes a filler.
Sort
right?
of a wood filler, yeah. So it's just fill in the gaps. And I mean, I don't think it's necessarily going to make it any stronger structurally, but I think we've made a decent enough job of it that when we wrap it in the cloth, it'll be stiff enough for me to ride and race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm already looking forward to
winning.
Yes, winning, because that's what normally happens when I turn up for a third cat race. So yeah, I mean, sooner or later it's going to be a bike. We're going to build this up with, I think we've got a SRAM Force group set for it. Some nice carbon forks. It's going to look great. We might even paint it. If you've got any questions about the bamboo bike, about this build, or about the kit that you can buy, just ask them in the comments below. We'll get them answered for you. Don't forget to subscribe to road.cc to catch more of this build. Next thing I'm going to do, obviously, is build the back end. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.